Hello. In this video we're looking at percentages again, and we're going to be looking in particular at increasing and decreasing by a percentage. So that is our intention. By the end of this video we're going to be able to do that. So we'll start off with a few hopefully nice simple examples, and for these first few we're not going to be using a calculator, and then for the last few I'll show you how we might use a calculator for questions like this. So this first one says increase. So increase, of course, means get bigger, right? So we're going to increase 54 by 10%. So first of all, since we're not using a calculator, we're going to have to do a little bit of working here, aren't we? So if I want to increase this by 10%, I'm going to need to find out what 10% is, aren't I? So 10% of 54. That is the first question. And hopefully remember how to find 10% of something. We can just divide it by 10. So that's going to be 54 divided by 10, and 54 divided by 10 is, I hope we agree, 5.4. So 5.4 is our 10% up here. So we're not quite finished yet, because the question said to increase by 10%. So that means I'm starting with my 54, and I have to add on that 10% that we just found. So I have to add on 5.4. So I'm going to have to do this addition down here, and I've got, first of all, nothing plus 4, so that's 4. I've got 4 plus 5, which is 9, and I've got 5 plus nothing, which is 5. And I should make sure I keep that decimal point where it was, so I'm going to pop it in there, and my answer then is 59.4. So when I increase 54%, when I increase 54 by 10%, the answer I get is 59.4. So let's pop that over here. 59.4 is my final answer. So because an increase, I had to add it on. Let's look at another example. So in this one, I'm going to decrease 140 by 25%. And again, since I'm not using a calculator here, I'm going to need to do a wee bit of working. And the first thing I'm going to have to work out is what is 25% of 140, because that's what I'm going to have to decrease by. 25% of 140. Well, maybe it's easier to work out 50% first of all. What is 50% of 140? Well, 50% is the same as half. So what's half of 140? It's 70, isn't it? Okay, so that's 50%. 25% then is going to be half of this, because I can halve it and then halve it again to find 25%. So what's half of 70? It's 35. Okay, so that's my 25%. Now I need to do this last part, which is to decrease. And decreasing, of course, means getting smaller. So when we're increasing, we have to add it on, it's getting bigger. When we're decreasing, we have to take it away, it's getting smaller. So I'm starting with this 140, I have to decrease by 25%, so I'm decreasing by 35. And you may be a wee bit ahead of me with this subtraction, maybe you've already done this in your head, but I'm going to go through the chimney sum here. I'm going to have to borrow from here. 10 take away 5 is 5, 3 take away 3 is nothing, 1 take away nothing is 1. So I've got this answer of 105. There we go. So when I decrease 140 by 25%, I get 105. So if we've got sort of nice numbers and nice percentages like this, maybe we can answer these questions without a calculator, but sometimes we'll get trickier questions where we might be using a calculator to answer them. So let's have a look at a couple of those. So this one asks us to decrease 85 by 12%. Now I'm going to be using the calculator method that we saw in the previous video, so hopefully you've already watched that. And let's think about it like this. If I've got this 85 that I want to decrease by 12%, I'm starting with 85. So this amount has to be my 100%, right? This is my 100%. That's what I'm starting with. And if I'm going to decrease by 12%, I'm going to take 12% away from that. So I'm doing 100%, take away 12%. I'm going to be left with 88%, aren't I? So I started with my 100%, I've taken away 12%, so I'm going to find 88%. So that means that this question here, decrease 85 by 12%, is the same as finding 88% of 85. So essentially what I've done is just sort of reworded this question. And now it's going to have the same answer, but now it is find 88% of 85. Okay, and we know how to do that because we know how to do that in a calculator because we have already practiced that. We change the 88% into a decimal. So in this case, that's going to be 0.88, and then we multiply by our number. So we multiply by 85. So that's what I'm typing into my calculator here. 0.88 times 85. And my calculator has told me that the answer is 74.8. Okay, so let's go back once more and just talk through that method to make sure we're all sort of on the same page here. So I'm starting with 100%. I'm starting with all of this. I want to decrease it by 12%, so I'm taking 12% away, which means the percentage I should be left with is 88%. So I'm going to be left with 88%, so let's find out what that 88% would be. How do I do that? Well, I multiply by 0.88. That's what we've done here, and we get 74.8. Okay, let's try another of those. This time we're going to decrease £320 by 7%. So again, we're going to start off by assuming that this is my 100%, and I'm decreasing by 7%. So what percentage am I going to be left with after I've done that decreasing? I'm going to be left with 93%, aren't I? So we're sort of rewriting that question to be, instead of decrease by 7%, it's the same as find 93% of, I'm going to run out of space here, 320, ooh, just about. And then we use that same method that we did before. We take our 93%, we change it into a decimal, 0.93, and we multiply by that amount that we started with, the £320. So that goes into my calculator, 0.93 times 320, and my calculator has told me that the answer is 297.6. Now, one little thing that's, or in fact two little things that's missing from my answer is that this was a question about some money, right? It was in pounds, so let's stick a pound sign in front of my answer. So I've got £297. And the other thing is, when we're dealing with money, we don't just have one decimal place. That's not how money works. We normally have two. So let's pop a 0 on the end as well. So what I've got is £297 and 60 pence. There's my answer. Okay, good. Another couple then. Now this one is an increase kind of question. So again, we're going to start by saying, well, this is my 100% that I'm starting with. That's all of it. And I want to increase this time. So it's going to get bigger by 4%. So I'm adding on an extra 4%. Okay. So what's 100 plus 4? Well, it's 104, isn't it? So I want to find 104%. So again, if we rewrite this question, increase $160 by 4% is the same as saying let's find 104% of $160. 160. Okie dokie, let's do that then. How am I going to find 104%? Well, I'm going to take this 104%, I'm going to change it into a decimal. Remember how we do that? We divide by 100. 104% as a decimal is 1.04, and I'm going to multiply that by 160. I'm going to pop that in my calculator, and my calculator's told me that the answer is 166.4 equals 166.4. Now, same two things to add as last time. Well, not quite the same, in fact, because this one's in dollars, but the same sort of thing. I'm going to need to pop some units on that. In this case, it's a dollar sign, so it's $166.40. We want an extra 0 on the end there because we use two decimal places when we're dealing with money. Final example we're going to look at, it'll be a similar one to what we've just done here. We're increasing 72 meters by 31%. So we're starting with this 72 metres here. That's my 100%. There it is. I'm increasing, so we need to add on 31%. 100% plus 31%, that's obviously 131%. So this question is exactly the same as saying, let's find 131% of 72 metres. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to take our 131%, we're going to change it into a decimal, 1.31. We're going to multiply that decimal by the amount we started with, 72%, 72 metres rather, sorry, and we're going to chuck that in our calculator, 1.31 times 72, and my calculator says 94.32. Hopefully yours agrees, 94.32. Now this question had a context again, it was in metres, so we should give our answer in metres as well. That means my answer should be 94.32 metres. There we go. Cool, good stuff. I'll see you later then, guys. Bye-bye.